The number of coronavirus cases in the U.S. is approaching 5 million, far more than any other country.
26 states plus Washington, D.C. and Puerto Rico reporting daily increases in deaths, even as the rise in cases in the U.S. this summer appears to be slowing.
Now, 18 states say hospitalizations are actually going down. So some encouraging news there as that eases the burden on the healthcare system. More on that in a moment. But first, to the relief that may be coming for unemployed Americans hit hard by the pandemic, struggling to make ends meet. We go to ABC's Rachel Scott in Bedminster, New Jersey, for more on President Trump's executive actions. Rachel, good morning.
Whit, good morning. President Trump taking matters into his own hands, sidestepping Congress on coronavirus relief, setting up the stage for a potential legal battle. Overnight, President Trump said he's had enough.
Therefore, I'm taking executive action. We've had it.
Pushing to bypass Congress with the stroke of his pen. Taking to the podium at his private golf club to announce executive action on coronavirus relief. The president restoring unemployment benefits, but slashing the weekly checks to $400, requesting states share the cost, minimizing evictions, suspending interest on student loans, and enacting payroll tax cuts. President Trump placing the blame on Democrats after both parties failed to reach a deal.
Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer have chosen to hold this vital assistance hostage on behalf of very extreme partisan demands.
House Democrats passed a $3 trillion stimulus package back in May and offered to meet Republicans halfway. But the White House called it a non-starter.
We're not going to just keep on coming back every day if we can't get to a deal.
James Guevara is one of 30 million Americans out of work and in need of relief.
There's absolute urgency that I need the money now, but it's going to be really tight toward the end of the month if we don't get that stimulus going again.
But with the president's executive action, that crucial aid could be tied up in court for months. Congress, not the president, controls federal spending.
Mr. President, when will this relief get in the hands of Americans that need it? What date?
We think it's going to be very rapid. We want it to be very rapid. It's going to be distributed in a way that, whichever the fastest way, there are various methods, and it will be rapidly distributed.
But you're signing an executive order today, and Americans want to know when they're going to see this relief.
Very soon. They're going to see it very soon. Look.
Very soon. 30 million Americans are out of work, sir.
Excuse me. There it is, right there.
And House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Democratic leader Chuck Schumer are calling the president's executive actions here weak and narrow, saying it does nothing to increase testing or help reopen schools, and that if the president was serious about wanting to help Americans, he would return to the negotiating table. Dan?
Rachel Scott challenging the president. Rachel, thank you. Let's bring in our chief anchor, George Stephanopoulos, who will be hosting this morning right here on ABC News. George, good morning. So these executive orders are smart politics in that it makes the president look like he's taking action when Congress won't, or is there going to be a problem here potentially when Americans don't get relief quickly?
I think what we're seeing right now is a game of chicken. Rachel did some good questioning of the president right there. If you look at the substance, there's only one executive order. The others are just presidential memoranda that he signed. There are real questions about whether or not the president can spend the money that Congress has not allocated for these purposes, whether anything can happen quickly. So I think this is designed to put pressure on the Democrats to stay at the negotiating table and make more compromises. Democrats, as you saw in their response, feel that they're in a fairly strong position right now, and they think that the pressure is going to be on the president to come back to the negotiating table. But the bottom line for people who are not getting their unemployment assistance right now, this is not going to happen anytime fast.
Well, you call it a game of chicken, but for many Americans, it's not a game at all. So let's talk about these ongoing negotiations. You've got Larry Kudlow and Chuck Schumer on the show this morning. Where are we? Is there any momentum at all?
Well, as you know, the House passed a bill that was a little more than $3 trillion about 6 weeks ago. The Republican offer, the White House offer, is about $1 trillion. The Democrats say that they were willing to take $1 trillion off their proposal. What the Republicans say is that they're just playing games with the numbers, that they're not really cutting back on any of the demands they're making right now. One of the problems the Republicans face is that you've got about half the Republicans in the Senate who say they're not going to vote for any any extensions at all, which is why the White House has been in a weaker negotiating position, why the president chose to go on his own. But I got to tell you, I have no idea where this is going to go in the coming days as the challenges mount to what the president did, and as people at home who are not getting their unemployment assistance are facing more pressure.
So just to put a fine point on what you said earlier, if you're at home and you're watching this and you need the money, unfortunately, we don't have good or solid news.
Fast.
Yeah. George, thank you very much. Really appreciate it. I want to remind everybody to tune in to George's show later this morning. On This Week, he'll be speaking to Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer exclusively as talks on that new coronavirus relief package stall. Plus, President Trump's top economic advisor, Larry Kudlow, responds discussing President Trump's new coronavirus relief executive action. George, thanks again.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.